So recently I've been getting back into Red Dead Online, and despite the game's age, I've noticed quite a few new players in my lobbies. I figured that I'd start a series going over each of the main roles of the game. There are tons of guides already out there, but I want mine to touch on the basics of the roles to help newer and experienced players get a foothold and start utilizing the roles and having fun with them. The Bounty Hunter is what many consider to be the most basic role in Red Dead Online. It sees the player set out on missions to track down and capture or eliminate and return bounty targets to nearby sheriff's offices. To start the role, the player must first venture to Rhodes, where they will get a cutscene introducing the role. They can then purchase the Bounty Hunter license and begin their career. The license will cost the player 15 gold bars initially, and will immediately give them access to basic missions, which will set them up to start earning money in gold. The player will also be given an option to upgrade the Bounty Hunter license for an additional 30 gold bars, which unlocks an additional 10 levels of experience, unlocking some very cool cosmetics, and unlocking the ability to take on infamous bounties, which are additional posters on the bounty board that you can scroll through. These missions have sequences with every mission, crossing off some of the targets from the poster. These missions sort of tell a story, and once the sequence has been finished, the player will receive an additional bonus of some extra money on top of the already basic payouts. The Bounty Hunter role features a lot of PvE gunfights. It's not necessary to own or use any guns in particular, but I'd personally recommend the repeating shotgun. It's a beast of a weapon and my personal favorite shotgun in the game. It excels at ruining just about anything and everything in close quarters. I also personally like the carbine repeater. It's a starter gun, so naturally most people discard it as soon as possible under the assumption that it's bad because it's a default weapon. While statistically it does have a little less range than most repeaters, and it is slightly less accurate than the most popular choice repeater, the Lancaster, it does rather high base damage, especially for a repeater. It suffers from a smaller total magazine size than a lot of other weapons, but this is remedied by an incredibly fast reload speed, as its entire magazine is reloaded by a tube of bullets, as opposed to having each individual shot loaded one by one. You can also attach a scope onto the weapon, which allows you to engage in accurate long-range combat, allowing it to serve you extremely well as a solid weapon at basically any range. You can also use any sidearm you like. Personally, I like the Navy revolver, the sawn-off shotgun, or the volcanic pistol. They all hit exceptionally hard and are never bad choices. As for ability cards, I'd personally recommend Strange Medicine and Cold-Blooded. Strange Medicine, at the downside of cutting your default health regeneration in half, gives you a nice health regeneration effect whenever you inflict damage, and Cold-Blooded gives you some health back whenever you kill an enemy. These two work very well together to greatly increase your survivability. I'd also recommend taking whatever active ability card you personally like. I like to run Focus Fire or Slippery Bastard, but anything works well. This role has a few signature tools to help you improve your bounty hunting ability. The Reinforced Lasso, which is available to unlock at role level 1, costing $350, and is an improved lasso that makes it take longer for enemies to free themselves. Players also suffer from a longer time to free themselves, and also are given the extra daunting task of wiggling their joystick along with continuing to have to mash X to escape. This enables you to comfortably transport bounties much longer distances without the worry or risk of having them free themselves. The bolas, which are unlocked upon reaching the established ranks, are throwable weapons that, if they hit their target, will immediately knock them down and hold them in place for a moment. If you approach a bound target that is knocked down, you will be able to instantly hogtie them, which also retrieves your bola. These can be incredibly useful for multi-target missions, allowing you to quickly knock down several bounty targets, or to snipe and immobilize fleeing enemies on horseback. If you miss the throw, that bola is gone forever. It's kinda stupid, actually. Once you've unlocked them, they can be purchased for $30, and you can carry up to 3 at a time. Another unlockable tool in the role is the Bounty Wagon, which is also unlocked at the established ranks. It's one of the 2 ownable vehicles in Red Dead Online, and can be summoned through the stable menu, where it will spawn nearby and begin making its way towards you. I personally recommend fleeing your horse before summoning it, to reduce the risk of stupid bugs from happening, which hilariously, in the on-screen footage, actually happens to me, where the wagon just doesn't show up. It's not bad, but I kind of recommend steering clear of it. It's buggy, it costs a lot of money, it's a pain to maneuver around, especially in some of the more cliff-oriented sections of the map. It does definitely have its advantages, though. It can stow several targets at once, as opposed to the one you can mount on your horse. And targets stowed inside cannot escape under any circumstances unless the wagon is destroyed, in which case they'll automatically be ejected from the back. On to the pros and cons of this role. The pros of the bounty hunter role is that it is extremely simple and extremely straightforward to play. It pays in both cash and gold, and is the only role in the game to give you gold. It requires virtually nothing to start using, save for buying the license itself. It can be extremely fun to play, and is a great option to run in between your larger businesses such as Moonshiner or Trader. Cons of the role is that it doesn't pay very good, but again, it is the only role to give you gold. It can be very tedious, with a lot of repetitive missions, and some mission styles that I really dislike, such as the ones that actually I'm playing in the background here now, which involve you going to a location, investigating a bunch of clues, and then following a bunch of trails that lead you to nowhere, until eventually one of them leads you to the target. The last big con, in my opinion, of the bounty hunter, and I think it's one that's pretty substantial, is that it suffers from a very wonky payout system. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. A lot of people might know this already, but the bounty hunter role, along with the stranger free roam missions, have this extremely stupid mechanic where basically the longer you take, the more you get paid, which discourages playing extremely efficiently. If you want to effectively make the most amount of money in gold and XP from your missions, there will be a lot of you just kind of standing around outside the sheriff's office waiting for the timer to tick down to about a minute or two. This is very similar to a mechanic that plagues GTA 5's contact missions, namely how, what was it called? I think it was the Rooftop Rumble job, way back when contact missions were actually viable. This was one mission that people grinded because it could be done extremely quickly. So, yeah, this mechanic basically exists to prevent you from rushing through missions, which, again, I think is dumb. Personally, I think players should be rewarded for being able to very efficiently complete their missions. But apparently Rockstar disagrees, because this has been in the game pretty much since day one, and has not been removed since. Okay, that about wraps up my video on the basics of the bounty hunter role. In the next video, I'll probably cover the Trader. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, a like or subscribe would be greatly appreciated and would help out tremendously. I have started my script for the Trader video, and I've started capturing footage of it, given that this month has the Trader bonuses on the go. So I'm kind of on the grind for that. So footage is just kind of naturally happening. But yeah, I should have the trader video out in a few days. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.